Steve Evans, 9 games to go. It just never stops, does it? Because there's another hard game coming this Saturday.
Well, that's as tough as it gets, isn't it? I think we went toe-to-toe with each other earlier in the season, and I said at the time Northampton would certainly be challenging for promotion with the squad that John has available, not just the quality within it, but the totality. I think I read his words earlier in the week, he could be missing 10, 11 players against us. If we're missing 10, 11, we'll be playing 7-a-side at 6 on Saturday. But no, they're a really good side, as we know. They have a good support behind them, like they brought here. And I've got nothing but admiration for John, Colin in particular as well, Colin Calderwood and the players. There are a lot of good players, a lot of players that I know really well personally. I
mean, it was always going to be a tough game whenever you played them, but they seem to have hit a good run of form as well recently.
They're in a great run of form. You know, they're a formidable opponent. I think they're one in that top 7 or 8 teams that could beat anyone. It has to be said in this league, could lose to anyone. So from our point of view, we know how tough it'll be, but we'll come up with a team and a plan, and we'll go there and we'll try and come away adding to our points tally. And that'll be tough for us on Saturday, but if we do, it suddenly doesn't become big time advantage Northampton anymore. But they're a really good side, and they've done a wonderful job this season.
I mean, you're going there after last Saturday, which we know was an uncharacteristic performance from you guys. What was said in the week? Was it a case of just draw a line under a fairly sharpish?
Well, we had to look at it. You know, there was 2 types of performance last week, as you witnessed. Neil, there was the first half, which we should turn 2, maybe 3-0 ahead. I think 1 or 2 of the members of the board up at Salford told me privately on Sunday that they were expecting at half time to be a 2 or 3-0 defeat. But second half we went out and there was not a lot in the game. But if you make huge errors, not errors, but huge errors, you're going to concede. But we come in on Monday, boys said Sunday at home, we come in Monday and we certain parts of the video we brought up and we looked around it and we know that's not us. So we showed the ugly side, but we also showed the good side. We showed the side early in the season, or a few weeks back, where they've been absolutely outstanding for us, those players. So we expect a normal character performance from the lads that are concerned.
I mean, that was the thing with Saturday. The focus is obviously on the 3 goals conceded because of how they came about. But the rest of the game wasn't a disaster by any stretch of the imagination.
No, listen, I think I look back at certain games. I look back at the Bradford game. Really good side on the mark, really good side. But we're dominating the game and we conceded 3 times. But Saturday was even more evident. It was the goals we conceded. It was individual error based, but it wasn't just one error behind each of the goals. There was 2 or 3 errors. But, you know, big characters, that'll happen to them. It doesn't matter whether you're at the top level and you're Harry Maguire or John Stones or these guys. They'll make mistakes. And it gets over, in my opinion, it gets over focused. But because of the nature of them, we point them out and then we move on. And the lads concerned have been terrific all week. They've got that lot of adjustment between themselves again to go again and produce the performances that they're known for around the league. That's what makes them in the top 3 defenders in this league, 2 of them. So it's not for the wrong reasons, it's all for the right reasons.
Well, I mean, I guess as well, you've got 9 games to go, so there's still plenty of time, and it just adds, like you say, that little bit of determination to their game, which is perfect for it.
Yeah, I think so. I think you look at the 9 games we've got. There's a mix of home and away. These are the highest rank opponent we'll now play. Obviously, they're second in the table, so that makes it tough for us. But we have a game in hand to be, and could be in second ourselves. But you have to win that game, of course. You'd always rather have points than games in hand. But going to Sixfields at any stage in the season, I've gone there with a number of teams, and it's always been a real tough place to go. And all we hope for is that the teams decide the game and not the third team on the pitch, because they've decided too many games for us in recent weeks, the officials. We look at last week, there's a deliberate headbutt, the player should be sent off. Luke Norris is through and goal. He gets a yellow card for protesting why the defender's not subject to a red card. So there's a lot of things going against us. But how do you work them through? You have to work that little bit smarter, that little bit harder, and that little bit more determination, and bring it back in your favour. And with 9 games to go, we need some of these things to come in our favour, and we're going to have to work hard at that.
Smart is actually the key word for this game as well, because like Carlisle, you have to be in it still with 20 minutes to go.
Carlisle was the most professional performance, not the best, but professional performance and disciplined performance that we produced all season. Every player played their role to the T, and the 2 or 3 opportunities come for us to win the game we didn't take. So that's the disappointing aspect in that performance. But you're right, we have to go there and be really professional, really disciplined, and be in the game in 70 minutes. We have to remember that we're playing a team that's got big resources, despite what you said, big resources. Look at the squad, look at the quality within it. So therefore there's an expectation by the chairman of Kelvin and his board, and so there should be, and the fans, so there should be. So from that point of view, we go there and we'd be really strong, we'd really be disciplined. We know that winning on Saturday gives us a massive advantage. We know that if Northampton beat us, it gives them an advantage. But we go there in a good place in terms of mentally, because we know that over the last 5 weeks we've played in spells really, really well, back to our best in spells.
There was a bit of argy-bargy after the game down here in October. It seems such a long time ago now. Will that have an impact on the match?
No, I don't think so. I think it was really interesting. I think there was one or two things said, but I think I said it. The week after the game, John Brady made contact with me 3 or 4 times. First couple of them didn't want to do it. And I mean, John spoke. We've known each other a long time. He's played against my teams. He was a real good player, John, real good character. And he shows also a character when he knows there's a little bit injustice with 1 or 2 things I said, that he calls you. And I would do the same if it was one of my lads. He called me in and listen, we've seen each other in our journey since. He's a really good professional. And so is Colin. I would regard Colin Calderwood as a real good friend of mine. We've seen each other in loads of family holidays and different things. So, let's keep the focus to the grass and to the 22 players or whatever number of substitutes are used on top of that. Let's keep the focus to them and winning the game.
Talking of the players, how is the squad looking?
Well, it's been tough. You were here earlier this morning when we attempted to do a press conference this morning, but we'd 4 or 5 lads in total had to go home because they were just under the weather. Now, if it had been Tuesday, they would have trained. But given it's Thursday, the advice from our internal medical side and the doctor was to just let them go home, give them a plan, let them go and work. The good news is they've all separately called in to the coaching staff and they've gone through the work and they're already feeling better. So we'll come in the morning. We don't expect that to be a problem. And the real final part of the planning process will be completed tomorrow. Today was a bit more of a down day, whereas we worked really hard Monday, Tuesday to be ready. So I'm not expecting any issues.
And the one injury, I keep mentioning him every week, is TBC. We were hoping he was going to be back when he was on the bench at Carlisle. Missing last week. What's the latest on him?
He's trained all week. He's fit. So he's a big player for us. But we've been missing, I hear about what teams are missing players. No one is missing someone of Elliot Lister's class. No one has missed our goalkeeper, 2 goalkeepers. No one has missed TVC now for 10 weeks. No one has missed Luther Wood and Kane Smith at times, Max Clark, Sol Saxon. We didn't, Norwich did. Strikers carrying us. So we've been limited severely at different times. But my motto has always been that it will continue to be, let's focus on who we've got. So we can focus a bit on Terence because we left him out deliberately last Saturday to put some extra work into him. You've seen some of that after the game at the stadium. Well, he worked incredibly hard. And he bounced in Monday and declared himself ready to go. And he's back in full training. So he's available for selection.
Right, and we'll just finish on the one thing that I know you're desperate to talk about. The jammy 2-0 win for Scotland.
I'm glad you mentioned it. I've not mentioned it with all the lads coming in here, The only real bugbear I've got all of this, the only bugbear I've got, I'm obviously watching it live, and I've sent my best wishes to Stevie Clark and the management team and the day of the game and 1 or 2 messages. But, Scotland get the second goal. I'm off the sofa, I'm cheering. And 45 seconds later, a WhatsApp come from Alex Gilby, and it's a picture of Harry Kane, said he has scored more goals in your country. And I'm like, what are you on about, Gilby? Do you know what I mean? You ain't got a clue. And so it's fair to say that this morning, yesterday and this morning, the boys have been in and we've been talking Scotland and beating Spain, and young McCracken's been up there at the front, and Dean Campbell's not been shy missing it, and but too many of them, your Taylors, your Rees, your Norrises, they just keep saying you're rubbish. I don't think they've watched the quality of which we've become. But seriously, well done, Stevie Clark, top of the group, and it's going to be tough to stay there, Stevie, but he knows I've already sent my best wishes.
It was a good result.
It's a fantastic result. I think they turned up to play tiki-taka and got elbowed and got pushed and got shoved. And listen, it's how you win a game. If you can't compete, how do we win at Villa Park? we had more vigour, more determination, more aggression, channeled aggression, not nasty aggression. I think that's what Scotland did. Because everyone knows if Spain turn up at Hampden Park against Scotland, it's a game of football. We know it's going to be the longest night ever. But it wasn't. It was the longest night because the whole of Scotland was partying.
And what you need is a bit of that on
Yeah, we just listen. We come out of Priestfield. I've always said, you know, where the season goes, we come out of Priestfield. If we are sitting third in the table, 8 to go, game in hand, you couldn't have picked it any better if you'd have started last July. But we now know it's 9 games go, and every time a game's go by, I said to the boys last Saturday, all that was an opportunity missed. And opportunities don't continue to be there. They get missed and they never come back. So we have an opportunity at I think it's an opportunity at Sixfields to be really focused and at it on Saturday and produce a good performance. And we know we're against a formidable opponent who, after what happened the last year to them, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, they should already be in League One because they should have been promoted. It was shambles what went on. But for them to bounce and for John to coerce that and lead it with Colin, they deserve nothing but my applause. Nothing but my applause. But Saturday's a separate battle altogether.